Thank you for being here. And thank you to the board. That was a very interesting introduction. I'll try to do as good a job with my panelists. And first is my friend Rebecca Zavaleta, is the CEO and co-founder of Paismo HR, a next-gen people automation platform transforming HR operations through AI optimization. A UPenn alum with over a decade of leadership experience in California tech, Rebecca has built her career at the forefront of big data and machine learning, leading major initiatives working with technology giants including Google, TikTok, and Meta. Drawing on her unique expertise in scaling data-driven products and cross-border operations, she has spent the last 5 years building high-growth teams and infrastructure across emerging markets such as Saudi Arabia, UAE, Pakistan, Mexico, and Ethiopia. Rebecca is a proud Mexican-American from Southeast LA and a supporter of first-generation low-income programs. Welcome, Rebecca, and thank you for being here.
Thank you, Ali.
Next, it gives me great pleasure to welcome Annum Sadiq. Annum is the co-founder and chief education officer at edtech startup EdCasa and has been recognized as one of the top women entrepreneurs in the country by Pakistan's Prime Minister House. She is a 2016 Fulbright Scholar, 2017 Education Pioneers graduate, and 2019 Rockefeller Foundation Fellow. In 2023, along with her award from the PM's office, Annum was also recognized by her alma mater with the LUMS Alumni Achievement Award. Annum is focused on building Pakistan's education system and currently leads education delivery at EdCasa, which has taught over 500,000 students in Pakistan and is the most watched online learning platform in the country. Welcome, Annum. Thank you for being here. We saved the best for last. Dr. Iain Keith Riley is an experienced international educator and the head of school at TNS Beacon Health DHA. With a strong background in IB education and a progressive, inquiry-driven learning, he is committed to fostering a culture of curiosity, creativity, and student agency. Dr. Riley has led meaningful school improvement initiatives, strengthened community engagement, and championed professional growth for teachers. His leadership reflects a global outlook shaped by nearly 2 decades in education across multiple countries. Dedicated to the TNS vision of learning without boundaries, he continues to guide the school towards innovation, academic excellence, and holistic student development. Welcome, Dr. Riley, and thank you for being here.
Thank you, Ali.
Okay, that was very hectic, all the introductions. So this conversation is hopefully going to be a lot lighter than this has been. I will ask the panelists to keep this discussion focused on uses of AI in their own workspaces with the hope that we can inspire some of you who are attending today to see how you can incorporate it within your own workspaces. So I'll start with an example from my own company, the Catalyst Group, which recently integrated about 1.5 years ago. We integrated AI into our functioning, and the way that we use it today is that previously when we were, so Catalyst Group is an HR firm. We place people in executive roles across organizations. And previously what we would do is when we receive, let's say, 50 CVs for a job, we would just pick up the top 25 and throw them in the bin and say, you know what, we don't want to send unlucky people to our clients because they had bad luck, their CVs didn't make it. And now we use AI to do that kind of matching for us, where more relevant people are selected, and we still have a 50% pool that's deducted. And so in that sort of vein, Rebecca, let's start with strategy. What is the framework your team uses to choose which AI features to build, ensuring they deliver quantifiable value to the overall business, not just novelty?
Thanks, Ali, for sharing your story. That's very insightful. So I'll start off with, I'm a technologist by heart. So whenever I break down a problem, I try to think of it as objectively as possible. So, for example, Paismo is a HR tech and payroll company. And as AI started to explode, everyone's pushing like, what are the AI features you're going to start implementing? And the AI feature that we landed on was building out our AI co-pilot, which is an anomaly detector. The first question we ask ourselves is, does it have to be AI? AI is very expensive. I don't know if you guys have looked into the numbers of how much it costs to ask AI like a stupid question, but the number one important piece was, does it have to be AI? You're able to create prototypes and mocks and ask your customers, your users, how to use it. Do they actually get any value out of it? And the most important piece that we came up with in our framework is what is the cost per unit in delivering this AI product? And you can come up with costs from like 3 cents per AI sort of calculation to 6 cents. Then you have to figure out the pricing system from there as well. And after you've figured out the pricing, figured out the users on how to use it, you have to figure out what does the distribution system look like for this product. Because ChatGPT, I'm just going to ask a simple question, and I'm going to assume it's 100%. Who here uses ChatGPT? Okay. And the reason why is because it's one of the easiest products to use. It works like chat, right? So you have to figure out what is the distribution manner and how you're going to be implementing this AI product. So overall, it's pricing, costing, getting users to try a prototype version of it before using the entire product. So overall, that's the framework I use.
Great. Thank you. And Iain, coming to K-12 education, and thinking about the value that AI can bring to students and to learning, what practical uses have you found in query-based learning programs such as the one you're running at TNS? And what challenges do you feel in its implementation, particularly as you try to encourage inquiry among students?
Well, firstly, Ali, I would like to thank you for sending me the questions at 6:10 this morning before you were riding your horse.
You're most welcome, Iain.
And to be fair, what I did, I took Ali's ChatGPT questions and I put them through ChatGPT, right? And then realized it was a load of nonsense. Okay? So to answer this very, very clearly, I think if we look at the evolution of AI over the last number of years, students have had no idea how to use it. Teachers have had no idea how to use it. But now we're in that understanding phase. And we're in that phase now where AI is no longer separate. It is integrated into everything that we do. So, for example, for teachers, who are the most important people, sorry, students, but for teachers, using AI, using ChatGPT, using Gemini for lesson planning is brilliant. It takes away so much time, 60% of your time that would have been spent rather than watching Netflix. Oh, sorry, marking papers. Don't clap in the front, you behave yourself, right? But also, secondly, students as well. AI is not there for students to write their essays, okay? It is there to help guide them. Right. So again, it's teaching students the ethical use of AI by teaching them how to put prompts in, which will then help them structure an essay, etc. So again, the IB for me, who I work for, and TNS, we've worked very, very hard to ensure that AI is not separate. Teachers should not be scared of it. Parents should not be scared of it. Students should not be scared of it. And it's actually a positive impact on our lives. Finally, for the teachers out here, AI will never replace teachers, ever. Apart from maybe at Aitchison. That was for Annum, by the way.
Thank you, Iain, for that detailed answer. And speaking of scared of it, Annum, who do you think should be scared of it? What skills? You take a nationwide purview of education and skills for young children. What's on your mind when you think about what skills AI will replace in human use, and as a result of that, what jobs and what career fields?
Ali, I have a really funny answer for that. If somebody doesn't videotape it, then I'd love to give it. I think the people who need to...
I think it will be videotaped and you should still give it.
I honestly think the people who should be most scared of it is bad partners. Because honestly, the way AI cheers you on and says you can do it and you are in the right, no spouse or no partner can give that kind of, leverage to you to do whatever it is, and you type your query and you say, okay, this is what I've done. Did I do the right thing? And most of the time, AI will be like, yes, you're right.
I think we should move to the next question. You have unequivocally addressed that one.
But I completely agree with Ian. When it comes to teachers, there is no replacement that AI can do. They can augment what the teachers are doing. But teachers are not just giving skills, right? It's a relationship that a teacher has with a student. And they're the coach, they're a mentor. And unless there's confidence in the teacher that the student has, they will not be able to learn. So AI, while they can cheer you on, they can't meet you where you're at, right? So for example, when a teacher is standing in the classroom, she knows this child can do more. वो उनको शायद डांट भी दे. Ali, I hope it's okay to talk a little bit in Urdu. Yeah? I
ठीक
can
है.
take that. ठीक. All right. So teacher थोड़ा सा कह भी देंगी कि, you know, you can do better. आप थोड़ा और मेहनत करें. Right? And then they'll tell the child that I believe in you. For a child to hear that from a teacher is just so much more inspiring than to hear it from an AI chatbot. So in that way, the teacher is forming a student. It's not just giving information to a student. And what we don't understand is that AI will just give you information. It will just give you skills. It cannot give you knowledge. It cannot give you wisdom. And now we need to understand the difference between all three of this. So for somebody to really perform well in their workspace, they need to have a balance of information as well as knowledge and wisdom so that they can be leaders of the future as well. So AI cannot replace teachers. And yes, husbands and people who are not paying attention to their spouses need to be more scared.
Okay. So, if you don't know, Annum, for those of us who are struggling with their spouses, has developed a widget you can just put in your phone, and it will help. Becky, if I can come back to you, if every platform today claims to offer some type of AI feature or claims to have some kind of AI feature incorporated into it, how do you, when you're developing code or when you're developing your platform, differentiate the necessary ones from the ones you have to do to respond to VC pressure about what features you are incorporating for the next round of funding? I don't even know if that's a relevant question for VC anymore, but please shed light on that also.
Even though the AI bubble is about to pop, not about to pop, whatever it is, AI is the future, period. I only see AI as an accelerator. It helps us do things better. It's a guide. But what everyone keeps missing about AI is, well, our experiences. When every single person in this room talks to ChatGPT, ChatGPT starts learning more and more patterns, right? Like, how do teachers in Pakistan teach their students? What are they struggling with? What are they doing well with? And the more the AI learns from your patterns, your experiences, the better it gets. So we apply the same sort of thought process to our HR and payroll product. Companies in Pakistan, in the UAE, in Saudi Arabia all run differently. Hospitals run differently from schools. They all have different payroll processes. And what we take are those experiences and we implement it into the platform we are building. So I would argue that, like, for example, when the AI bot first did the introductions in the beginning, were you able to relate to the AI bot, right? Versus when Ali Nomani sat down and started speaking, he is a character, he is a person, right? Just like Iain and Annum, right? You can relate more to them due to their experiences, and this helps sort of accelerate your learning with them. So I would argue that as long as AI is learning from our experiences and is accelerating from our experiences, it becomes a valuable product.
Thank you. Iain, perhaps this is a more nuts and boltsy question for somebody like me and also in the education administration space. What are some concerns you're seeing with pervasive use of AI across schools? Or let's say you project out AI use 5 years down the line. Like, I'll give you an example from my LUMS class. I teach a course at LUMS, and we have allowed students to use AI for all their assignments. And then the instructors use AI to see what percentage of the assignment was done using AI. That's the most stupid cyclical loop of AI usage that I've seen, and it's probably wasting energy and dollars for somebody out there. So in that vein, perhaps, or in another vein, when you've thought about AI use in schools, let's say 5, 6, 7 years down the road, what are some concerns you have and what are some opportunity areas you see?
Well, I think one of the concerns that's always going to come up is the privacy and, data concerns that come with AI. What we have to remember, because I also work for the Council of International Schools and evaluate schools, and we are told very clearly that if you use ChatGPT, don't put the school's name in, because the minute you put the school's name in, it becomes public domain. So what people don't realize is that, for example, ChatGPT or Gemini is linked to the public domain. So you have to be careful on its usage. However, it does have its benefits. Now, I was in another session this morning, and another LUMS professor was talking about, how they run exams with AI at the moment. And they were saying they used to do the open textbook exams, and now they do the open AI exam. That, to me, again, doesn't work. We are still at that stage of development where we understand what AI is, but we don't really understand how to use it effectively, right? So, again, yes, we have these brilliant policies in place. I know that, for example, the Punjab government has their IT policy, which is absolutely amazing. The AI policy for TNS is brilliant on paper, but does it work? No. And, I think this is where we need to get all the stakeholders, students, parents, and teachers on board to fully understand the ethical use of AI, how it can be used effectively, what the constraints are, and what the benefits are. So, for example, I'm a classically trained singer as well. Don't even think about it. For any of you who
Ian?
don't even think about it. For those people who are in Karachi, I did sing 2 years ago. I'm not doing it this year. Annum is. Okay. But I am terrible when it comes to drawing, right? But if you think as a teacher, we come out with summative assessments that say, okay, you have to build a diorama. I'm sorry, I hate it, right? And I would like to kill my teacher. Not really, okay? So again, we can use AI for benefits, right? So for example, Napkin AI is great for visuals, right? So again, it's allowing students to explore new skills at the end of the day. And I know this might go into the next question, but if we look at education now, and you look at the big debate going out there, it's knowledge versus skills. If you look at the 2026 World Economic Forum, they no longer care about the knowledge that you have. So for anyone who studied economics on this panel or history, it's useless, right? Having the service focus, having the skills, collaborative skills, communication skills, all the different skills are the skills that are going to help you for the future. Plus AI. So these have to go hand in hand and are not separate. And this is where we, as a society, need to take Pakistan to the next level. Thank you.
Thank you, Ian. I have been given a polite reminder that Hammad AI is one of the speakers as he has not been introduced yet. So this handsome man that we see looking at me is Hammad. And Hammad, my question to you is, use your best, most charming personality to ask Ian to sing in a way that he cannot say no.
All right, here goes. Hey Ian, you know your voice is like magic, right? How about sharing that enchanting talent with us? I promise, the crowd will love you even more, and who could resist a little serenade from a star like you? Come on, let's make some unforgettable memories together.
That's brilliant.
See?
Right? And I'll tell you what, at the end, I will do it.
Thank you.
Okay?
Well
as
done,
a duet.
Hammad, I believe in you. You have gained my confidence beyond where we started. So for coming back to the
Thank you so much. That means the world to me. I'm here to keep the good vibes rolling and make this experience unforgettable.
Okay, please make yourself
keep the
invisible again. Coming back to...
Invisible mode activated.
Okay. Picking back up where we left from when it was just us humans, Annum, if you, we like Ian just mentioned, the World Economic Forum 2026 is less and less interested in your knowledge and more interested in your skills. Can you, for our audience, first differentiate between skills and knowledge? I think that's always a helpful distinction to create, number one. And then, yeah, why don't you do that first, and then I'll ask the next piece of the question.
So I plan on being at the WEF at Davos this year, so I'm very excited, and I'm very keyed in on the thematics situation that's happening there. But I think, and Ian, there's a slight sort of disagreement I have on one of the things, and I think once I give my definition of the knowledge and skills, perhaps we can have a deeper chat about that. But the way I see it now, in fact, let me frame it with some data. So in Pakistan, university enrollments in the last 1 year, according to HEC data, have decreased by over 20%. And that's very concerning, right? Already, there are not enough students enrolled in universities, and who were going before are not going anymore. So where are these students going? But if you look at the other data, if you look at the sort of demand for skills-based diplomas, for curriculums that are much more like how do you do R, how do you do the different machine learning, or these kind of skills on Coursera and a lot of other online edtech platforms such as Zcasa, they're increasing a lot more. So globally, if you look at data from Pakistan, one of the highest number of learners on Coursera comes from Pakistan. Because again, there's a lot of emphasis on skills. But what are skills? They're sort of tools that will help you learn different set of how to operate a certain tool, how to operate a certain machine, how to do something that is within a very selective framework. That's a skill. How do I learn R, Stata, or AI automation, or cloud certifications, etc. Now, what is knowledge? If you learn how to do R or whatever software, you're not going to learn how to talk to your colleague who's putting a lot of work pressure on you. You may not be able to, when it comes to leadership, how to be empathetic towards your team, how to get your team to deliver in a tight amount of time. These courses and these skills are not teaching you that. That's your knowledge, right? And for us to move forward as a human race, knowledge, has previously been very guarded, but now it's much more open. But it is much more experiential as well. So those are sort of the segregation. And in knowledge, there's a lot of empathy, and there's a lot of leadership skills, there's a lot of collaboration. So while the enrollment for skills is increasing, and in the short term, it makes a lot of sense. For example, the return on investment is much better when it comes to skills, right? I'll do this course, I'll pay maybe $100, I'll get certified, it'll help me get a job within 2 months of that job is going to pay for that, right? As opposed to a university degree, which is 4 years in transition, and then if the university is not teaching me things that are relevant to the job environment, all that money is down, right? And there is that gap right now in Pakistan between academia and industry. So a lot of people are opting out. They're saying, why should we spend all that money if it's not even landing us a job? The return on investment is very poor. So that's how I see the difference between the two. But the skills gap is very short term. The knowledge, we have to have that in tandem with the skills for us to get to the medium term, the long term, where we see ourselves as leaders. So I think that in Pakistan, if this trend continues, we'll have a dearth of leadership, which we honestly already at this point do have, which is why there's hardly any innovation happening in our country, as opposed to, if you just look at India, the number of patents that are coming out of India, there's innovation, there is leadership, there's critical and logical thinking skills that help us in that route. So now that AI is taking over, sure, we won't have a lot of the entry level positions will be more augmented with somebody who's using AI. What we need to do is create new jobs. For that, we need to think logically. For that, we need to be innovative. For that, we need to understand teamwork, leadership, collaboration. So I think both skills and knowledge are really sort of go hand in hand. And if anything, knowledge is paramount at a time like this.
Thank you.
Let me just add on to that one, right? And I think Annum knew this was coming. Again, I think we need to look at this from two different points of view, right? Because when we look at skills, for example, the skills for me that you're talking about, Annum, it's more like a BTEC course, or it's more like the career path for the IB, okay, or for Cambridge BTEC, right? Which is absolutely fine, because of course people need to learn skills when it comes to medicine. I mean, you're not just going to shove Rebecca up there and say, do a heart surgery. Well, we might try that and see what happens. But we're talking more about the affective skills, the collaboration skills, the skills that are needed in the workplace. Because yes, you might have learned to be a great doctor, right, in terms of your knowledge, but if you don't have the customer focus, that is required, you will never succeed. You will never go up the ladder. So there's different types of skills that are required for the future. Now, my question, and I'm going to ask this to Ali, so I'm changing this round on the moderator. Ali, now you work, of course, at LUMS, and I work at BNU as well. A question for you. Do you think that the current education system in Pakistan and internationally has kept up with where we are with AI, plus that skills versus knowledge conversation that we've been having?
No, absolutely not. I think that education systems are slow, lethargic, bureaucratic. They require changes at multiple fronts, whether it's teacher training, curriculum development, assessments. What is not inspected is neglected, in my opinion. And so I think the world is, particularly in the last, since 2003, the speed at which the world has been changing, we have not been injecting new inputs into the education space, whether it's teacher, curricula, training programs, graduate programs that cater to the fast changing needs of today's students. And so as a result, we have a lot of frustrated students studying things they don't understand, reasons for studying. And I really like to think of K-12 schooling from the 30-year out lens. Like when students who are currently in K-12, when they are our age, what do I expect them to be doing? And what are we teaching them today that prepares them for that journey? And in that, I think the record, not just in Pakistan, but globally, has been pretty abysmal because, unfortunately, education systems tend to be led by pretty traditional thinkers. And this is all over the world, not just here. And the good news, however, is coming from children, particularly in this generation, the Gen Z, which is demanding access to more engaging experiences from their educational institutions than even we were allowed to, or we felt empowered enough to. So I think I'd like to add on to what both of you, Annum and Iain, have said, that I don't know if teachers will be replaced, because I think poor quality education will always be there. But certainly the best quality thinkers who shape students' minds going into the future will start thinking more about where the world is headed and help students meet that world, rather than to take a reflective look on knowledge and think about things that have already happened or teach lessons from the past. I wonder if that answers your question, but feel free to ask more questions.
I want to jump on this train as well. Okay, but this time I have a question for the audience. So let's say if you would ask, because we spoke about skill set, what's missing within our schools to be job ready for the world. So let's say we would ask AI today, how do we solve for climate change? And let's imagine that AI gave us the most perfect answer, and this is actually the answer on how we solve for climate change. Now, from an educator's perspective, why do you guys believe we would not be able to execute on that result that AI has given us? Can we get some hands? All right, I'm going to pick over there first, and then I'll go over there.
Because AI doesn't know the context, the resources, where we are, the reality. It will give you, I think, very idealistic kind of answers, whatever is possible. But then what is possible in our context is something that we have to look into.
Let's assume for this world, AI has given us the correct answer. And this is my guess, and you guys might have different answers on this. Over here?
So I think the basic problem would be educating people and making sure that everybody is aware of the problems that we have. So considering that Pakistani society, we have a very low literacy rate, there's a possibility that people might not be aware of it. So if people are not aware, we have not done the legwork. So there's a high chance that we might not be able to execute the perfect plan that the AI proposed.
Okay, so we have awareness, we have context, and Annum?
I think agency. We won't take ownership of whatever's just told to us. We want to come up with our own decision.
Yeah, I agree. I'm going to add my own part, and then Ali can decide if he wants to continue taking this forward. But in my experience, I have found the most incredible engineers. And when I ask these engineers, 10 of them, to work together to build something, and they're the best JavaScript developers, they are unable to work together if they haven't had that exposure or ability to co-create before. I mean, the biggest problem we have in the world is we can't get our countries to work together. We can't get our international government institutions to work together. The biggest problem we have as humans is the inability to work together because, as you guys said, there are awareness issues, there are contextual issues, and there are also agency issues as well. So.
I think it's a fair game to take this forward a little bit. So I think it'd be helpful for certainly me and hopefully the audience as well to understand where this question came from. Like, why are you thinking about ability to work together and co-create in the context of AI?
Why am I thinking of that?
I mean, where did this question come from? And because I agree with you, the difficulty that you pointed out, even in implementing a perfect plan exists, which is co-creation. Yeah. So in the context of use of AI, how do you think of co-creation as a limiter?
Yeah, because we were talking a lot about skill sets, making sure that people have really good skill sets. And when I think about hiring and I interview engineers, because I'm mostly hiring engineers and sellers, everyone's acing the tests, doing well on the tests. I think, okay, they know these platforms very well, but when it comes to hiring them and getting them to work together, I'm experiencing a lot of difficulty, especially within the Pakistani market versus the Mexican market, the Ethiopian market, the UAE market, or the US market. There's a lot of focus on skill sets, but not a lot on co-creation, or I think I was just having a conversation earlier, like having exposure to different institutions, like having people just interviewing with me is also something that stumps people, right? Because I'm an American and my English is a bit different, and some people get terrified or scared in the interview process. And I think exposure, co-creation are essential pieces in order to implement the answers along with our own agency that AI gives us.
Let me just jump in there and just say, first of all, Rebecca, yes, you're American. Your spelling's not correct, right? But that wasn't the point. The big point
it's not the point, but Iain has been really sensitive about the spelling of his name. Let's take an audience poll.
Oh, for goodness sake.
It's right behind you now.
And it's spelled correctly, right? Iain. It's a Scottish spelling, which means John in English. Don't ask. Okay? But no, the big thing that I'm taking away from Annum and Rebecca, really, and it's something that I introduced into TNS Beacon House 6 years ago, is the concept of agency. Now, agency for me is one of the key things for students to succeed, teachers to succeed, and parents to succeed. If you give individuals voice, choice, and ownership, they will succeed. They can set their own targets through AI, whatever, right? They can use AI, but it's giving them that choice, right? So, as I said, if you're giving a child a task and you say to them, you can present that task back any way you like, right? With parameters, because you always have to give the students and adults parameters, and definitely parents, right? Then they will achieve because they will take ownership of their own learning and jobs as well. So for me, AI, as I keep saying, is an add-on, right? But agency is the key to success for the future of our students, parents, and teachers, not only in Pakistan, but globally.
I think we're on a very interesting tangent right now, and I just want to dive deeper in this. But as an educator, so at CASA, my company has taught about 600,000 users, and we have an app. The way the app is structured, it's all human-centered design. So before we started the company, we went to 800 students and asked them what you think a great teacher has. And we thought it would be something like, oh, the skills, they're very good at math, they know the past papers like that, etc., etc. But none of it. It was just that the teacher is friendly. It's as simple as that. So when we were hiring, we just looked for the most friendliest, relatable, most empathetic face. Now, why is this important for us as educators, especially in the age of AI? For agency in a child, for a child to take ownership of whatever work they're doing, they have to have self-esteem. They have to be confident in their ability to think and learn. So the example Rebecca gave of people being intimidated by her, I see it a lot as well. I'm a tech entrepreneur. When we hire people and we tell them to do a task which is kind of ambiguous because we're also going with the flow, we're kind of building all the time to see what sticks. So we tell people to think on their own, and it's not that they're not smart, it's just that they haven't done it before. So a lot of time goes into training people to believe in themselves that you have what it takes to crack this. So as educators in the age of AI, the component of building self-esteem in a student is not talked about enough. And self-esteem, not just confidence in your ability to think and ability to solve problems, but also in setting respectful boundaries for yourself and standing up for your values. And I teach at LUMS, I teach this entire course on leadership, which is based primarily on this. And it's shocking to see that people, even as mid-career or top career professionals, are struggling with this. So in the age of AI, where a lot of the work is being done for you, you have to think independently, and that's where you will excel as a leader.
And I think just to add on to that finally, is, the relationship. The relationship between the teacher and the student and the parent will never be replaced by AI, right? If you have a teacher, might not be the best teacher, their mathematical knowledge might not be the best. I always pick on maths teachers, right? But if they can relate to the student, that student will still want to learn, and that student will succeed. We have all been in university lectures, sorry, Ali, not yours, but we've all been in university lectures or classrooms where you've got that teacher who stands at the front of the classroom, that didactical teacher who's boring. I'm a boy, I switch off, I start falling asleep in class. Not now. But that's, we need to have the teachers that can relate to the kids, that can engage with the kids, that want to be teachers. Now, one thing I always say, as somebody who trains teachers, you are born a teacher. You can make a teacher better through training, but you can't make a teacher, right? So anyone who's in the education profession here and loves it, you are true teachers. And you are the future of tomorrow.
Thank you, Iain. Hammad, wake up. I would like you to, we've been discussing the concept of agency, particularly in the context of building it in students. For our audience, I'd like you to define what agency is, so we can have a shared understanding around what we're discussing. Thank you.
Agency refers to the capacity of individuals, particularly students, to act independently and make their own choices. It involves the ability to take initiative, set goals, and engage in decision-making processes that affect their learning and lives. Building agency in students empowers them to be proactive, fostering critical thinking, resilience, and a sense of responsibility. When students feel they have agency, they are more likely to take ownership of their education and pursue their passions with confidence. This shared understanding is crucial as we explore ways to cultivate that sense of agency in our audience.
Thank you, Hammad. So I think I want to move us in the direction of our last questions before we get to have the privilege of Iain singing for all of us. And then we'll go to question and answer. So you're sandwiched between question and answer than this question. No escape. As the world continues, and this question I'd like all three of you to answer in your own ways. As the world continues to make knowledge-based learning more and more irrelevant, and so looking forward to hearing from you, Annum. And let's say skills takes more of the passenger seat in the front. What is the value of degrees that you see in the future, particularly specialized degrees, in the age where knowledge will be even more easy to access than it was when Wikipedia, let's say, or Google came around? And so now we have a more customizable access to knowledge than we've ever had before, less need to sift through. And so what implication does that have for higher education in general? From each of you. Rebecca, maybe we can start with you if you don't mind.
Okay, I'll start first. So from the tech world, we had a lot of entrepreneurs who were more general entrepreneurs, and they would succeed because they had a lot of generalized knowledge on how to achieve certain goals. But what we're starting to see is the importance of entrepreneurs who have more specialization, right? So maybe they're focusing on a specific audience niche or whatever it is. And the reason for that is I believe in this concept called noise versus signal. Today, there's a lot of noise. You guys are probably getting pinged by your cell phones, on WhatsApp, on Slack, on Gmail, or whatever it is, and you're also present here, right? But what I found best is that those who can narrow more on the signal is able to better differentiate themselves. And those who focus on signal is like, no matter what happens today, I'm going to complete my 30-minute run or whatever sort of goal you have for that day. So we are seeing more success from specialized entrepreneurs than from general entrepreneurs. And the reason why is because in the world of data, we have this concept called the long tail distribution problem. AI itself only focuses on the first 10 pages of search engines. So what about the rest of the internet, right? The 1,000 pages of the internet, which means that AI is getting everyone to focus only in the first part of the long tail problem, right? So in this 95% of data that everyone's overlooking, this is where specialization becomes important because specialization is the context. It is the agency and it's not the generalized information.
Go ahead, Ann.
So firstly, I think our definition of knowledge and skills is kind of what's making this conversation more interesting. But for me, I don't think knowledge can ever be replaced. And I do think that leadership and teamwork are part of knowledge, but we've also talked about how those are skills that can be developed. So I think that's where sort of the contradiction lies. Now, as far as I'm concerned, I think that a university degree is still intangible, but not a university degree which is just told to you to be done by XYZ because that's how they did it, कि आप doctor बन जाए, हमारी family में सब doctors हैं, आप engineer बन जाएं, because that's what is required of you, or you're smart enough. Content creator में कोई वो नहीं है, कोई पैसे नहीं है. That's not true. I think we need to break this, and a lot of the Gen Z have already broken it and shown that there are new economies that are coming up, and university degrees have to help you be able to adjust to the new economy that's coming, and it's the pace of change of technology is very fast. So it's not just skills. We have to be lifelong learners. We have to keep learning how to do prompt engineering or whatever happens next in the next revolution of technology. So we have to do all of that. But the university will teach you how to think. The university will teach you how to collaborate. The university will teach you how to be resilient and really give you that rigor test that you need now in the new knowledge-based economy. So I do think that universities have a very important role, but it's not to teach short-term skills. It's to teach a person how to think, how to analyze, and how to choose. Thank you.
I'm going to be a bit controversial on this one, which is normal for me. I agree, of course, with the ladies over here. However, for me, looking at the majority of the majors that people are studying at the moment in the UK or in the US or indeed at LUMS or BNU. To be fair, the majority of the courses are an absolute waste of time, right? And yes, they may teach the kids different skills that Annum has mentioned. However, I would also argue that the IB program offers those skills a lot better than other programs do, and therefore it is no longer required. So if you look at schooling, right, we still base our schools on grades. So if I speak to any Pakistani mother, I'm looking at this front row here, right, who look very stressed out. It must be exam season coming up in December, which it is, right? They'll all be going, I want my child to get an A star. Okay? Brilliant. Once we get to A levels or DP, we want our kids to get the 45 out of 45 or 3 A stars, 6 A stars, because that's the university requirements to get in. That is outdated, right? If we are just looking at knowledge, then fine. But we're not. The universities have moved on. We've all talked about the skills aspect, but we're not doing that with entry requirements. Because we know kids, or I know many students who would have succeeded at university, but academically, they couldn't get in. I know many entrepreneurs in Lahore who do not have a university degree, but are multi-millionaires. We work in education, we're never going to be rich. Sorry, people in the front row again. It's a reality.
Yeah, and look at the way Becky's laughing at you.
Yeah, apart from
With her-
Becky.
with her
Becky's
billions of
rich.
dollars.
And she's American. So, if you look at many of the courses, so I had a kid this year apply to the University of Oxford. Oh, brilliant, right? For Egyptology. What's that going to do for you in life? Okay? If you look at the universities here teaching computer studies, they're outdated because they can't keep up with the constant changes in AI. Universities really need to look at how they're teaching our students for the future, because that has a trickle-down effect to our schools and to our students. So my thing on this, and sorry university people, please do apologize to Babar Ali. We are outdated, we are antiquated, and we need to change for the future. Thank you.
Thank you. Iain, we will have a couple of minutes. We have a couple of minutes for questions and 10 minutes for your song.
With
Hammad,
Didar.
Hammad AI, you are up again. Iain is going to start singing a song in the next 10 seconds, and I would like you to provide the background music. Iain?
Absolutely. Let's set the mood. Cue the upbeat, energetic background music, perfect for a vibrant performance. Iain, the stage is yours.
Iain, are you going to be standing up or sitting down for the song?
I want to know what the background music is going to be. Right?
Hammad, go ahead and get started with the background music.
All right, let's kick it up a notch. The background music starts playing softly, creating an uplifting atmosphere, gradually building in energy to match the excitement of
Hammad,
the moment.
thank you for
Let's
your
ignite
help.
this performance.
Iain, go ahead.
You're welcome. I'm here to help anytime.
Shut up!
Let's keep the good...
Okay, let me just sing a few lines then and get it over and done with. It's a French song. Okay? So, when I was young, right, and I am still young, I saw the lady smiling at me again. 23. 23. This doctor title's fake, right? But when I was young, I trained as a classical singer, and I sang for the National Youth Choir of Scotland, and I sang for Nelson Mandela and the Queen,
Wow.
right? she's dead, so therefore it must be older than 23. Right? So we'll do a few lines, right? Now, I haven't warmed up. Lahore smog and being with these beautiful people on stage might put me off, especially Ali and Nomani, as always. So, Lydia sous tes roses joues, et sous ton confrère c'est blanc, rouli tan salon, leur fluide que tout dénoue. Le jour que lui est le meilleur, oubliant l'éternelle tombe. Le te basie de colombe. Chantez sous ta lèvre en fleur, sous ta lèvre en fleur. Thank you.
Wow, that was unexpectedly wonderful. Thank you.
Now, Ali Nomani, your song.
It says 1 minute, please wrap up. And so, ladies and gentlemen, please join me in thanking our panelists for today. Becky, Annum, and Iain, thank you so much for sharing your insights. Our time is about up, so we don't have time for questions, unfortunately. But thank you for being here. And thank you all very much. And those of us who have next panels to go to, please do so. Thank you, Iain. Thank you, Annum, and thank you, Becky.
Thank you.